What a crazy week for the HFL. We had some crazy matchups, some crazy results. We're going to talk about all of that. We're just going to get right into it. We're going to start off with what was supposed to be the heavyweight matchup of the week, but did in fact let us down as things pulled out. That would, of course, be the Wolves and the Stallions, the only two heavyweights in the league. Lamar and Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry has just not been who he once was. We're going to get this really quick. There we go. 10 points is not what we want to see from an elite running back. That is nowhere what we need. All the way down the list for the Stallions was basically zeros. They might as well have not put on their jerseys for the week. Could have put them on IR and would not have noticed a difference. But looking over to the Wolves side of things, we had a good showing from Garrett Wilson, had a really good showing from Puka, really good week for James Cook, solid week for Josh Allen, pretty much standard, nothing to see there. Baker had a really good week for being a super flex. Overall, pretty good week. Down here, the defenses made a big difference. 19 points for a defensive game, for a defensive just outing is kind of crazy. That's kind of what we want to see. Harrison Butker kind of saved the Stallions a little bit of points showing up there. Nothing crazy. Final score ended up being 113 to 143 or 139. Not exactly what we thought was going to happen, but you know, these things happen. Just one moment, a little technical difficulty here. Alright, back into it. Yeah, like I said, 139, 117, not what we originally thought it was going to be, super close matchup, but nonetheless, it happened none the same. Now, our first blowout. I don't know if this is our first true blowout for the year, but this came from a lot of no-shows on the Platypi. That is a lot of no-shows. And this isn't even just bad players, this is just bad outings. Not great. Also, Jordan Love, not a great week, but both starters for the Platypi are hurt. And Dak Prescott was not a great week. The only one that had a really good week was Devonta Smith. Everyone else was really bad. And, I mean, for backup quarterbacks, you can't really expect too much more. Will Reichert had an amazing week. Congratulations, Platypi, on that. Outstanding. Buffalo defense is not going to be great all year. Pittsburgh defense. Well, let's start at the top for the Gators. Amazing week. Jalen Hurts with 32 points. Now, Breece Hall, not a great showing. Christian McCaffrey, 14 points is great. A.J. Brown, great. Nico Collins, great. Justin Jefferson, kind of meh. Brock Bowers for a tight end, that's really good. Jaden Blue, might as well have scribbled him out. And Bo Nix as a super flex is not really where we want. But yeah, that Pittsburgh defense, like that Tampa Bay showing for the Wolves, is just something that you want to see week in and week out. So congratulations, once again having the same technical difficulty. Congratulations for the Gator offense and team. It was a great week for them. Now our last, and the final score ended up being 75-141 on that. Not necessarily close, but this is the HFL, anything can happen. Moving on. The Snow Bunny and Polar Bear matchup. Now, the interesting thing about these two teams is that one of these teams was projected to be at the very top of the league, just cream of the crop, and the other team was supposed to be predicted to be pretty close to the bottom. Not this week. We had a little bit of an upset. The matchup was supposed to be 118 to 114, ended up being 123 to 98. Crazy week. Crazy week. Sorry about that. We're going to get right into it. I think that this was just a bunch of pretty good games. Obviously, the Lions just destroyed the Ravens. Crazy good games from Jameer and David Montgomery. Jamar Chase and Terry McLaurin, pretty much no-shows. James Williams and Sam Laporta might as well have not even put on their jerseys. Keon Coleman was so far away from any points that he might as well have been cut from the team. But CJ Stroud, also extremely mid. Kyler Murray, also extremely mid. Somehow, the Snow Bunnies pulled this week out of the fire, and I think it comes from these two Lions running backs. Great call by the Snow Bunnies. Now, over to the injury-ridden team of the year. This was the concern going into the year that everyone had, and so far it is coming true. Polar Bears, it might be time to start shaking things up drastically, going out and trading players, cutting that salary down and getting players where you want them. We're just going to start right here. Joe Burrow was in fact on not played. We are going to start instituting this for everyone. If a player is injured and is on your bench 2 weeks in a row, that's when we will start taking draft picks. There's not even a vote needed for that. If Joe Burrow is on here next week starting, that will be a draft pick taken, and it'll start the 10th and then go to the 9th and then the 8th. But anyway, Joe Burrow obviously is 0. A-Shane, pretty good week. Jonathan Taylor, amazing week. That's what we want to see. CD got hurt in the game, so that doesn't count. Amon-Ra had a great game. Brian Thomas, not great. Terry McBride, that's actually really good for a tight end. That is a star of a game. Bucky Irving had a pretty good game. Josh Jacobs, that is not a great super flex. We need to take a look at that and get you a quarterback in there. Defenses, pretty equal showing. Cameron Dicker had a great week for the Chargers. So overall, I mean, a pretty good showing for a team that wasn't supposed to score anything because of so many injuries. So Polar Bears, you kept it competitive. You would have won against a couple other teams if you just hadn't been playing the Snow Bunnies. Now, the interesting thing for the Polar Bears is we go to the benches of the Snow Bunnies and the Polar Bears. Let's just take a look at Daniel Jones. That's an 18-point swing. That would have won the Polar Bears the game if they had put that over Joe Burrow. Tyreek Hill had 10 points. If we push out Brian Thomas Jr., that would have made a difference. Kenneth Walker, a running back, with 17 points. That would have made a difference over A-Chain. Really what we need to be looking at is defenses and the teams that we're playing. On the other hand, Justin Herbert, what an insane outing, and he sat on the bench. Could have replaced either CJ or Kyler Murray. Nobody's going to take a look into that. Don't forget to look at your benches and see who they're playing on defense. We're going to take a quick pulse of the league. Now, this hurts my heart to say as the Stallions owner and general manager, but we have a new top dog in the league. That is the Wolves. Congratulations, as the Wolves hold the #1 team in the conference, in the league, sorry. The second team in the league would be the Stallions at 2-1. The third team in the league would be the Snow Bunnies at 2-1. That is a tiebreaker loss to points scored, as you can see right here. The fourth best team in the league would then be the Gators at 1-2. The fifth best team would be the Polar Bears with 1-2, but there's the tiebreaker again. And the Platypi, sadly, are the only team without a win yet. But they have scored a lot of points. They've been competitive. It just hasn't really gone their way. So far, everything is going really good. Guys, we just need to look at our benches and make sure that we are starting people that are actually playing. 2 weeks in a row, if they're not playing, we will start taking draft picks. So make sure you pay attention to that. And good luck, and I'll make a video on Thursday for all the things to come. And I'll see you then.